California Honda dealers. I'm Chris McGee. Big game, James Worthy. Big shot, Robert Ory. We've got Allie Clifton here. We got Brez and Trudell working the post-game locker room. We'll be hearing from everyone shortly. Guys, the Lakers kind of similar to game one against Memphis. Messed around a little bit. They only scored 94 points. By the way, that's the lowest they've scored this season. The low coming into this game was the Portland loss at 107. But just like they have in the past, they found a way to get it done. When you have the two best players on the court, LeBron James and Anthony Davis, that's going to happen on most nights. They sweep the road trip. They go to 4-0 on the road and 6-2 overall, James.
Yeah, and, you know, throughout 72 games this year, you're probably going to have a few games like that. You know, spend a little time in San Antonio, then you go into Memphis where you got to stay, you know, longer than you've ever stayed, back-to-back games. I know they got some good barbecue in Memphis, too. I probably would have had me a couple slabs of ribs, kind of slow me down. But
how much for just one rib?
You're going to have those type of games. I mean, Memphis is a team without their star player. That automatically makes everybody else energy, you know, play better, and they're up. And, you know, it was a sloppy first half. Lakers turned the ball over too much. Didn't get to the free throw line like they usually do. Only 11 attempts at the free throw line. The bench production has been lacking a little bit because of players, you know, not being available. So it's just one of those games, but it just goes to show you, like you said, the superiority that they have, that they can put their two big guns and close the game out.
Rob, I know I've had you talk about this before. Fish talked about it the other night as well. You guys have been on great teams that have repeated and won championships. Sometimes there are nights where, you got to admit it, it's hard to motivate, but you just know you're better than that team. And sometimes you flip that switch at the end. We kind of saw that tonight. It's dangerous. I know the fans don't love it, but tonight we saw it.
It's very dangerous because a turnover, as you see at the end of the game, two crucial turnovers right there, a three-point there. And you don't want to play with teams like this because anytime you get a team like this, it gives them so much confidence that first quarter, second quarter, next thing you know, you're in the fourth quarter, and you're in a position that you don't want to be in. But the Lakers was grinding it out. They did what they needed to do, and they locked guys down the stretch. And that's the true sign of a championship team, to be able to lock in when need be.
Took the words out of my mouth. Sunday, they held Memphis to just 40 points in the second half. Tonight, 43 points. So they did it with defense and then turned it on at the end. Another big night from AD, 26 and 10, par for the course. He's with Mike Trudell.
All right, Anthony Davis, things got a little interesting. Final seconds there. What were you guys seeing as you held on to get this win?
We had to get back and play some defense. You know, they're a team who's looking for their first home victory. You know, we're a team who like to win on the road and establish a road winning culture. The team is young, even though they're missing, you know, their two best players, and Ja and JJ. They're going to continue to fight. Yeah, that's what they did all the way to the buzzer sound. Me and Bron had two turnovers where they, you know, got fouled in on both plays. So, and then we had a miscommunication call on the three with Dylan Brooks. So we got to get better late game, but you know, this team is scrappy. They're a young team who's hungry. Like I said, looking for their first home victory, and we was able to pull it off.
You know, one thing that you guys seem to take pride in, you and LeBron, is making plays on both ends in crunch time, which separates you perhaps even from several other stars. We saw that again in the fourth tonight. AD, what is that mindset like where you both have to make sure you're getting the buckets on offense, but then be the guys that can make the plays on the other end?
Yeah, that's what your stars have to do on your team. Buckle down both ends of the floor. You know, Ron with that big-time block. You know, I had a block as well. You know, going to the line, making free throws on the other end, making plays for ourselves, for others. Like, that's what it's about. You know, we want to be a good team. Obviously, the team is going to lean on both of us, on both ends of the floor, and we're able to do it both ends, especially late game.
AD, last thing for you. Now, I'm sure you're not familiar with this stat, but you rank 9th all-time in games with at least 3 blocks and 3 steals. It's some pretty good company. Guys like Hakeem and Robinson up there on that list. What do you see there in tonight? Again, you're able to get so many deflections and be able to protect the rim like that.
It's activity. Getting my activity back high. You know, our team leads and goes defensively as far as I go, and I got to be the one to bring that activity each and every night, and was able to do that tonight. Able to do that tonight with my activity, getting deflections and protecting the rim. And, you know, it carries on and trickles down to our other guys. You know, Brian doing it, Trez doing it, Mark. You know, Dennis is getting steals, and Kuz and West. So, you know, all our guys, Markeith, you know, protecting the rim. So we all, you know, playing our part. But I take pride in making sure that from the opening tip, I try to make sure that I go out there and bring that energy on the defensive end with deflections and blocks.
All right, Anthony, 4-0 road trip. Time to get on that plane back to L.A., man.
Oh, man, yes, please.
All right, appreciate it.
I think they were trying to go at halftime, but they had to kind of finish this game. Most games with 3 blocks and 3 steals. Rob, we wanted to show you this because your former teammate, one of your favorite guys in the world, Hakeem Olajuwon, the Dream, he's done this 204 times.
Wow.
Put that into perspective. Anthony Davis is 9th on the all-time list. He's done it 43 times. So AD came to play. He was big in crunch time. 10 3-point attempts, by the way, for AD. That's a career high. He hit 40% of them. He's 4 for 10. He had 26, 10, 4 assists as well. So AD doing it all tonight, Rob.
Yeah, he had a plus 12, and that's what you want to see out of your guy. You know, even though if you really think about this, like he had no offensive rebounds. That's the only thing you can really say bad about his game.
Yeah, and you know it's dangerous to flip that switch, but they know they can do it. And the thing about AD is he's not going to give you the same stats every night. Sometimes he'll give you big rebounds, but he's always going to give you something that is going to be impactful for the game and help the game to win. Obviously, he didn't get to the free throw line tonight. Shot threes well, hit some buckets down the stretch. But in the long run, he's one of the best free throw shooters in the league. You know, so I think that's a good start for him to get to the line, get other people involved. But I think tonight was one of those nights where he used his talent. He had LeBron to win a game. You're going to have those.
And you know, Ali, you are going to have nights like this, and it's your defense that has to carry you, and that's where AD has kind of put his stamp on this team. We saw it when he came in day one, media day, said, I want to win Defensive Player of the Year. 3 blocks, 3 steals. Impressive company right there.
This is why we all love to hear when he sat at his first press conference and was introduced to LA, and they asked if he would play the center position, how he felt about it. And he said, I will when you need me to. Because when you get rid of guys like Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee, and you don't have that rim protection, but you can turn to a guy like Anthony Davis who can defend from the perimeter all the way back to the back of the rim. And then you pair that, because I loved how Mike Trudell pointed this out, you pair that within LeBron James barking out coverages, you become tough to beat because you know what they're going to do on the offensive end of the floor, but it's a total package with the two of them. And in closing situations, they've showed up.
You know, it was exciting. I remember when the Lakers traded for AD. We talked that entire offseason leading up to the season and then obviously the bubble. You know, when the Lakers take the floor, they're always going to have 2 of the 3 best players. You know, AD and LeBron are always going to be there. And that's something the Lakers just didn't have during that tough stretch of years. They'd come close, just like Memphis tonight, but they don't have the closers. I feel like I've done that Memphis show 6, 7 years strong with all you guys right there with me. But now you're on the other side of it, and you have LeBron and AD. They score 15 points in a row in the last 3 minutes down the stretch to just separate that game, James. That's the ability they have.
It makes a big difference when you have those type of players every night. And if you don't have one, you can rely on the other. And most of the time, you have both of them together, which makes it almost impossible to stop them when they have complete role players around them. That's another thing that makes closers that more special, when they are capable of enhancing everybody else around them. So, but you're right.
The combo there, when they reach those kind of numbers, Lakers rarely lose.
Can we talk about how LeBron himself was 5 points, 2 of 8 at the half? And he finishes with that line right there. You know, we just heard AD be a bit animated in regards to getting back to LA. You said, I think the team probably wanted to come back at halftime.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to bet that LeBron James at halftime knew that what he gave in the first half, if they wanted to come away with the win, needed to be that much better in the second half. And obviously we saw that.
Obviously, though, I was talking about something earlier. You know, when you came here, we started winning. So you don't know that we could actually, the 3 of us could fly to Memphis right now and do their show and know exactly what to say.
I'm just surprised again.
Good young core, giving everything we had. Bench was great tonight.
Yeah.
Came up short.
Gave a lot of effort.
Gave a lot of effort.
Gave a lot of effort. Get him next time.
Yeah, fans screaming at you on Twitter. We can AD, they combined for 52 and 21. Dennis Schroeder with 12 and 6 assists. Lakers sweep the road trip. Let's hear from Frank Vogel. We speak with Mike and the media on Zoom.
Hey, Frank, there anything anticipatory about games staying relatively close, fourth game on the road, and then LeBron and AD kind of carrying things to a victory? Is there anything about that formula, or is that just kind of how things turn out sometimes with the way that they play?
Well, I think, it's in some ways how it turns out. I think we're managing their minutes more early in the game and, willing to, extend them a little bit in the fourth quarter. And, I think that's why you're seeing us separate in the fourth. But, certainly we got to play better than we did tonight, in particular, closing that game once we had that lead. But overall, 4-0 on a trip, can't be unhappy about that.
Yeah, Frank, and this may be tricky to answer early in the season, but any reflections on what it's like having a 4-game trip in these circumstances versus what you would traditionally, and how you saw that play out in games, if at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different dynamic being in the same city for as long as we were in San Antonio and now here in Memphis, and it's a different dynamic playing the same team 2 times in a row. And I just want to credit our guys, because it's easy to have a letdown, when you're playing a team that wasn't in the playoffs last year, that is missing key guys. And, credit the Grizzlies for playing 2 really hard games, the Spurs as well. But also credit our guys for, playing through all that stuff and, continue to work to get W's. So it is a little bit different.
Dave?
Frank, kind of following along the same lines of what I asked you pregame, we got word from Allison early on tonight that Nina, your trainer, wasn't going to be with you guys on the bench. And what's it like taking that news real time, disseminating it to your team, and maybe not knowing what the next steps that will follow that come with that will be?
Yeah, that's such is life in the pandemic. They have protocols in place to keep us all safe. And, when something's out of place, something like tonight happens, and we all just got to have a roll with it type of mindset. The good news is Nina has cleared protocols and will be able to travel back with us tonight. So, like I said, it's just part of life in the pandemic. Is there's going to be people, staff, players, coaches, whatever, at any time, pulled from their responsibilities, and we just have to have a next man up type of mindset.
Kyle?
Hey, Frank. Just LeBron's fadeaway shots, the spin away shots at the end there. I think certain maybe metrics tell us that maybe that's not an efficient shot, but when LeBron takes them, how much confidence do you feel in those situations that it's going to find a way in?
I have a lot of confidence in LeBron James in the fourth quarter. I don't really know any other way to say that. I trust him. We coach him to make the right reads and feel the game out and point out things that may be there that I'm sure he's seeing, but just to make sure he's seeing, and that's why he's great. He finds a way to make those elite superhero types of plays. Our focus is on making sure that we don't need those superhero types of plays, to close games out. But, sometimes you do, and it's great to know that he can rise to the occasion the way he did.
A couple more. Dan?
Right, kind of not really a basketball question, but there's a ton going on in the world right now. Obviously, a runoff election in Georgia, the police officers in the Blake shooting not being charged. I'm just curious. LeBron has his hands in so many of these different things. Do you ever marvel at his ability to compartmentalize and perform when obviously, there's a ton of stuff that he's interested in that's going on elsewhere in the world?
Yeah, of course. He's obviously one of the most impressive people I've ever been around. And, I think what you just alluded to is one of the ways that makes him special, his ability to compartmentalize, but also to have, an interest and a care factor, in those other types of things going on in the world. And, to be able to have his mind on some of those things and still perform the way he does, part of what makes him special,
Yeah, question by Dan to Frank Vogel about the James Blake officers not being charged, and of course the election runoff going on in Georgia. We've all been following that, and just kind of puts you back to there's other stuff going on more than Laker basketball, and we know that LeBron and his teammates have been at the forefront of it and using their platforms, James. And you've said on many occasions how proud you are of these guys.
I am, and it's going to be a continuation, throughout the NBA. What they've started this year of being conscious about what's going on outside of the game. Basketball is what these guys do for a living. It's not really who they are. They are a part of the community. They are a part of social justice, and it's nice that they have a voice. And I think what they've started, I think will grow into something larger for the NBA. They'll have a bigger voice, and I think it's a great thing that they have that voice. I'm very proud of what they've been able to do this year.
Yeah, I'm extremely proud of them because there are a lot of times, if you think about it, James, there was moments when we played where we couldn't touch subjects like this. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like you touch this subject, you might get blackballed. But I'm so happy that these guys have the platform, and they're using this platform to step up and tell people what's going on in society that people turn a blind eye to. And that's the biggest key, because sports, not just basketball players, but athletes across the board are looked upon by, not just little kids, adults, or, people of all ages. And for them to hear this message coming from them can mean a lot. And it could, open eyes to some things that are happening that people are, clueless to.
It's the one thing I've always appreciated about the NBA, and I think we saw it firsthand, especially this past year and season, with the ever-changing of what's going on in our world outside of just the game of basketball. I continue to say it. They've always just been very proactive, very forward-thinking, and have put at the forefront things in life, in this world, in our country, before what we all just want to show up and watch, and we all get to do and call our jobs.
Well said, my friends. Lakers are finally back home after their 4-game road trip. They play the Spurs on Thursday. Game time is at 7. We'll get you ready for tip-off.
Experience being on the court next to LeBron and AD, and sort of seeing the impact they can make on both ends in crunch time, and how that measures up with what you've experienced so far through your career.
I mean, obviously, those are two of the most versatile defenders in just play.
This year, as compared to what it was like even last year before the pandemic?
I guess this is more of a playoff type feel, where you're seeing the same team over and over. There's going to be adjustments that are made. There's familiarity. You kind of, it's a psychological game as much as it is a physical game, where you got to get up to play the same team, as opposed to different looks and all that kind of stuff. So but it's the same kind of road warrior mentality that we got to go in and we're gonna have to fight regardless. We're obviously gonna have a target on our backs, but that's where I think, in my opinion, teams are really formed, which is their play on the road.
How good?
Hey Wes, I'm sure you're aware that today in Wisconsin, an attorney announced that there's not going to be any charges filed in the shooting of Jacob Blake. Kind of given everything that you went through with the Bucks, that the NBA went through, what do you make of that result?
Nothing that isn't going to be censored. It's disheartening. Truly, it's disheartening just for all the work that everybody put in, all the, just the heartache of the families involved, kids involved in the car, the city that rallied around it, the community. It's just about right and wrong. But this isn't going to be something that it can't deter, those citizens who are trying to do right, who are trying to fight for equality, who are trying to fight for the right things. It can't deter us. It can't make everybody. We can't lose our heads. We can't start rioting. We can't start. We have to be calculated. We have to continue to keep our foot on the pedal. We have to continue to keep our foot on the gas. And this just furthers, we can vote and do all those things, with the president, but at the same time, we have to make sure that we protect our state and vote in state and understand that what is going on is real. This isn't made up. This isn't a lie. This isn't fabricated. This is this is lives. These are lives right here. And, you know, it's upsetting as a Wisconsinite. It's upsetting as a human being, you know, that and justice is injustice. And it's tough. But it can't knock us off the path that we're trying to get to, which is equality and just simply right and wrong, just humanity. That's all it is.
Good stuff from Wes Matthews right there. Well said. More to come on Access. LeBron and Gasol already have a great connection on the court. Lakers, Lee Times bench only scores 22. But you know what? Too good in the end, and they get the win. They sweep their road trip 4-0, coming back to L.A. 6-2. Frank Vogel gave an update on Alex Caruso prior to tonight's game, saying he's hopeful that Caruso will be available for the Lakers' next game, which is on Thursday against the Spurs. Caruso has missed 5 games due to the NBA's health and safety protocols, but participated in workouts on Monday in Los Angeles, so that's good news on the Caruso front. Lakers were also without the services of head athletic trainer Nina Shea, who was not on the bench for tonight's game due to health and safety protocols. We have talked a lot about this, and we will continue to talk about how you navigate through COVID-19.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting outside of the bubble. They did a great job inside the bubble. They were able to contain and control the situation. Now outside of the bubble, you see where not only players are being affected, but staff. So it's going to be something we're going to have to get used to. You know, I see where Kevin Durant's going to miss 4 games up in Brooklyn. So it's something new to everybody to adjust to it in sports and the medical field and the business world. It's just something we're going to have to get used to.
And Rob, I know we're all excited to get Alex Caruso back. Of course, then that will change some things, the rotations and minutes. But, you know, a guy like Alex Caruso, you just love having available.
Oh, you love him for his tenacity. He goes out and plays defense, and he plays the offensive game like he's supposed to. He takes what's given to him. The thing about Alex we love so much is he doesn't try to do too much. He stays within his limits, and he does what the team needs at the right time. And I think the connection that him, LeBron, developed is very important. I would love to see that. He's that type of player that he could have a connection with my favorite guy, Montrez, that could benefit both of them. So I'm excited that he's healthy, number one, and I'm excited to see him back.
Hate to see Caruso's progress get stymied a little bit. He was really starting to be, you know, really consistent every night. You know, he started to hit the 3, something he had been working on last year a lot. Not that well last year, but he hit a couple every now and then. Very confident, throwing a little running hook shot. And, of course, he and LeBron in the fourth quarter, they're one of the best 2-1-2 punches in the game. So they miss his tenacity on the defensive end. Be happy to get him back.
Yeah, I mean, every team's going to go through this. Where you lose a guy for 4, 5 games, maybe a couple weeks. Got to acclimate him back in.
Yeah, you got to. And that's the thing that's going to be really crucial. And it's almost like the Lakers staff and Rob Pelinka knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
They brought in 4 guys that could probably start for any team in the league. And so now you got these guys just in case you have the protocols that come in with 19 that some guy has to sit out. So, you know, I hate to use this term because another team in the league uses it. It's the next man up. It's literally, hey, you step up and show why you're an NBA player and what got you here to go out and do what's best for this team to keep us on rolling and in the position to win a championship.
All right, still to come on Access. Taylor Horton-Tucker got 4 points in 22 minutes of action tonight. We'll hear more from the team ahead. Going to see you then. Most games with 25 points and 10 rebounds since LeBron came into the league. That's 2003-2004 season. LeBron is at the top with 216. AD, 193 in second. Dirk, KD, DeMarcus Cousins at 149 tonight. LeBron James, 26 and 11. Big game James just doing it all. LeBron James.
We talk about him every game, right? He does it so many different ways. We look at the categories that he's in with a bunch of elite players, both former and current. And he's a special player.
LeBron hit the strong bleep.
Yeah.
Strong.
LeBron
I wish I could say it on TV. Sometimes there's certain words, only certain words can explain the way he plays. But
the words he was saying could not.
The funny thing about when you get that many years into the league and still have that joy and that drive to get out of the bed and still play this game is amazing.
You know, we talk about it, 36 years old, 18th season, to play at the level in which he continues to play out time and time again. He just knows his body so well.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
7 years, right? You covered him 4 in Cleveland, 3 here.
6. Oh, 7 to this point, yeah.
Yeah, so every single game. Do you get surprised sometimes, or?
No, I was going to say, well,
I mean,
actually,
I'm just curious. Like, I feel like you've seen it all.
I guess it never ceases.
Sitting on the bench, and it could be a violation of something the referee missed, and he'll get up and he'll know exactly what's going on. It's like, I've never seen anything like it. Rob, you know, he sleeps in a chamber. Put $1 million. How many chambers did you sleep in, and how much money did you put into your body a year?
Rob,
If I put some money in my body, I would be limping around here right now. But you know, think about LeBron. It's like the best analogy that I can come up with is, you think about it, in this first half, it's almost like he didn't plug in last night. And then at halftime, he went and plugged in like an electric car, and he got his energy ramped up.
It's hard to believe.
You say sustaining injuries. He's never been hurt. That's the part that pisses me off. I got hurt every game.
55 games last year. That was the first time, right?
And by the way, then there's Anthony Davis, who plays on the team.
Who?
And goes Anthony Davis. Remember him? Yeah, 3 blocks, 3 steals. I think only, 5 Lakers have had games like that, back-to-back games. Kareem, Eldon Campbell. Eldon. Uncle Eldon.
LeBron just said, okay, it's my job. It's what I do.
LeBron, in terms of experience, too, to that point, he's got 9 years on Anthony Davis.
True that.
You just think of the ceiling. We often talk about it. What is the ceiling for players? And for what we're watching right now, that's where the biggest wonder is. How good is he? How great is he going to be?
About also, think about this. He probably has more playoff games than AD got regular season games. And that's the thing people don't understand also about LeBron, because he's gone to the finals with 9 out of 10 years or 10 out of 11 years, whatever it is.
9 out of 10, yeah.
10 out of 11. And I don't think the fans or the people at home understand the pounding your body takes during the playoffs, because it's a harder grind in the playoffs, because it's back. You play, then you're off, and you play, and you're off. And then you got these teams that are beating down on you because they know what you're doing. And for him to still be competing at a high level and doing this and have with a smile on his face.
I think that's the most fun part.
Amazing. Yeah.
The joy that they're playing with, the smiles that you're seeing night in and night out.
Loves his job. He loves his job.
And I remember talking to you a lot during that offseason and, of course, last year in the preseason, like, what would AD do for LeBron? You know, LeBron has always had to carry the torch. Now he gets a younger guy, a guy that's
better of the team. So I think it's just a great relationship that they have.
I also think there's, you know, LeBron is the type of guy who can learn from maybe the 1 or 2 mistakes he's made in his career. And I think it boils down to communication. I think he's opened up the line of communication. I know Allie can attest to this better than I can, but you can just see it on the court, how he's talking to guys. And because, and there's certain ways you can talk to guys on the court, and he talks to them like, you know, man to man, not anything where he's berating anybody or talking down. He's just talking man to man. I think guys are more accepted of that, and they take it and they put it in and say, hey, this guy's all right.
That is a good point, because on our road tripping episode, he said,
guess what?
He's ready.
He's ready. He's ready.
All right, fine.
You guys did a phenomenal job, though, of vamping. Back to Memphis. LeBron is speaking with Mike in the media.
E.F. Hutton.
Hey, LeBron, just wondered what you've noticed in the difference on a 4-game trip like this from previous years, and hits you keep coming back to comparing. I know it's unique in the pandemic, but how you get a team to 4 straight wins, staying in the hotel, you know, thinking about other things. How have you guys kept the main thing in your words?
That's what it is. I mean, you know, we're here to work, get better, and to win. We're in the winning business, and that's what we want to do. We want to continue to build great habits. And we're gonna have times where we don't play to our capabilities, but we still want to be able to create great habits going forward. And I think we did that on this road trip.
Even with the new players, are there times like in the closing lineup where you and AD already sort of know exactly what to do to close out a game? How much of that is conscious and how much of it is just the way that you guys impact the game?
Well, I mean, who's ever out on the floor late in the game is a reason. It's the reason why they're out there, and we trust everyone that's out there, all 5 guys. So, I think tonight's closing lineup was myself, AD, Dennis Menace, Wes, and Kuz, and we was able to, close the game out in fashion and get some stops, timely stops, and get some timely buckets.
Dan Warkey.
Hey, LeBron, I'm going to take you away from the court for a little bit. Obviously, you guys played a game tonight, but there's so much going on in the world. In the morning, you guys find out that the officers and then Jacob Blake shooting won't be charged. As the day goes on, I'm sure you've got news about what's happened in Georgia and the turnout there and stuff like that. On nights like this, how are you able to focus on basketball? And I guess sort of your reaction to what else is happening? I mean, and all these other orbits that you have your fingers on.
Well, I'm smart enough to know that even though we're playing a game of basketball, that there's so much more that's going on in the world. So much more that's even more important than us playing a game. And to hear what happened in Kenosha today was a blow to the heart and to the gut. Not only to that community, but to us and to every, Black person that just has been a part of this process and seeing these outcomes for so long. And not only just in the Black community, but also in the white community as well, who see, moments like this happen to us, and to happen to his family, and to happen to the kid himself. To see that verdict, it was just, it was a blow to the gut, like I said, and a blow to the heart. But we got to continue to stay strong, continue to believe in each other, and continue to push for the greater of change and for the greater of good. And to hear, my people turn out in Georgia in the fashion that they did, I'm definitely going to get some more information on it. But I heard they turned out in Georgia, and that's commendable. It's something that we started with more than a vote, and we want to continue to do that and continue to support, actions like this and causes that went on today. And it's been going on, obviously. So proud of my people for getting out there and doing what they do best. So, and that's being heard and being seen and being powerful and being engaged. And, that's how it is.
Dave.
LeBron, what does the next stage of More Than a Vote look like? You started in the summer. There was the big election in November, the runoff today. Can you take us forward as to what the next steps will be?
One, I can tell you, Dave, is that we're not going to stop. We're always looking for opportunities to continue to grow, not only in my community, but all over the world and all over America. As you've seen, we've been able to do since the summertime, all the way up into today. So we're going to continue to keep our foot on the gas, continue to keep the pressure on going on how we continue to create change. And like I said, create change for, the Black community, but also just create change for the greater good. And we're looking forward to seeing what ways we can do and what we can do going forward.
A few more. Bill Orm.
Hey, LeBron. This is the first time we've talked to you about Jacob Blake since the bubble. And I'm wondering how this result, if at all, changes is the wrong word, and I hate that I'm using it, but how that makes you look at what you guys did in the bubble when you know what you guys were kind of standing for together as a league. Does this result at all? How does that color when you look back at what you guys did as a league in the bubble?
Well, the best thing we were able to do in the bubble is that we were able to stand together and the strength in numbers, and we was able to showcase that throughout everything that was going on in America and everything that was going wrong in America, and we was able to voice those opinions and to voice those facts every single day. And I hope we continue that now, even being outside the bubble, as I'm sitting here talking to you about, the verdict that happened in Kenosha and what's going on in Georgia. And there's going to be other instances that's going to happen throughout, the course of this season. And I hope that we all can continue to shed light on situations that, one, that we believe in, two, if it hits in our home or hits in our heart, that we can talk about it and discuss it, and also just be knowledgeable about any situation that comes out. So, like I said, it's a blow to our community once again. And we've been here before. It sucks. We feel sorry for his family and for that community itself. And we want better. We want better. And hopefully we can get that.
All All right, we're going to wrap it up. Last question, Kyle Goon.
LeBron, obviously we ask you these questions because you're an influential person in sport and culture. But after these things happen, you say things, there are people who are going to criticize what you say, who are going to criticize NBA players for sitting out, criticize Colin Kaepernick. That dynamic kind of continues to exist. Do you feel frustration about the people who kind of focus on the words you say or the means by which people protest rather than sort of the substance of what is actually being protested and what issues you guys are trying to draw attention to?
Yeah, I mean, people are going to always direct or deflect or just pull bits and pieces of your dialogue and try to make it for the better of what they want to hear or what they believe that you should be doing. And I'm past that in my life. I don't really care what people think, especially if it's negative. When I'm speaking from the heart and I'm speaking from a very knowledgeable point of view, I know what I'm saying is right, and I can care less what other comments or what people say. Because at the end of the day, no matter what, we are all human. No matter the color of your skin, we all have emotions. We all have the same colored blood when it comes out. We all pull our pants up and tie our shoes the same exact way. So when it comes down to that, and I understand that, I know that me speaking about issues that's going on in not only my community but all over the world, or especially in America that I live in, this is our home base. There's not one person that doesn't want to see the greater of good for all of us. And it's unfortunate that we have some people out there that would rather see hate than love, and it's something we won't ever be able to change. That's just the way how life is built, unfortunately. But if we can get the majority on one side, on the side of love than hate, then we can do some special things. So, I will continue to use my platform, use my, my influence, and to continue to empower people, to continue to enlighten people on things that's going on that I feel that's just wrong. Today is one of those instances where we as a community feel like, the verdict on, that particular officer was wrong. And there's nothing else to say more about it. Appreciate it, guys.
Big Game, I'll let you take the floor first.
Well, I mean, it's just a continuation of, of what's been going on in this country. Unfortunately, when things happen, our community, we already know what the results are going to be.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and that's not good. But we're never going to give up. It's going to take a lot of recognition in this country. And people are going to have to be honest with themselves about the history of this country. And we're going to have to re-educate ourselves until we get some peace. Because right now, there's still a lot of friction and a lot of hate. But I like what the NBA is doing and the WNBA. So we got to keep on fighting, man. Never give up. Never.
I hate to say ditto on it, but as he said it so beautifully. Yep. So it's not much to say, but ditto.
Well said.
Allie Clifton, Big Game James Worthy, Robert Horry, Mike President, Mike Trudell.
Sweep the road trip.
I'm Chris McGee.
We did sweep
Thanks
the
for
road
watching
trip, though.
so long. The Lakers sweep the road.